My name is Glenn Tabor with GAT3 in Charlotte, North Carolina. We've been in this location since 1996, and over the years, we've grown into a multimedia production facility that includes video editing suites, sound stages, a recording school, and 5 recording studios. I'm currently here in what we call our Opal Room, which is our newest mastering studio. When I was designing this mastering room, I knew exactly the type of acoustics, the aesthetics, vibe, and equipment that I needed to help create the best masters possible for our clientele. The sound and the experience had to be stunning. It had to be engaging. It had to be emotional. But it also had to be highly accurate, transparent, and dynamic. I knew there were some very specific companies and people that I wanted to work with to help me achieve all of those things. On some level, from the time I was young, I've always been an audiophile. It's always been the strangest thing to me that more often than not, the professional audio world and the hi-fi world seem to be at such odds. These two camps certainly have some differing needs, but everyone's goal is to bring music reproduction closer to real life, bring a vivid and lifelike experience while delivering nuanced and captured emotions to the listener. With that in mind, I knew power delivery was vital for this mastering room. I knew I wanted Shunyata and the years of experience and research that they bring, not only to the audio world, but even in the delivery of sensitive medical equipment. I wanted them to be part of the overall system implementation. Now, I have several Shunyata products in the studio, and I've always been highly impressed with their performance and build quality. In fact, Shunyata has been a part of many records I've worked on, including several Grammy-winning albums and the current nominated Record of the Year. So I reach out to Grant at Shunyata and talk about the needs I have. He listened to me. With his expertise and experience, he put together a complete delivery system for this room. What sets Shunyata apart is the sheer research and development that has gone into every single product they make. From the moment everything arrived, I was impressed. The packaging, the presentation, it's the first indication you have that a product is made with extreme detail and care. The heart of this system is the Everest 8000, followed specifically by selected power cables based on the equipment they'd be connected to, XLR interconnects, speaker cables, even cable elevators. Every component is beautiful in its design and construction. After setup, very little burn-in time was needed as this is done at the factory. All of the engineers and producers here were so ready to listen. Now, you also have to know, we had the studio set up and functioning for over a month prior to adding the Shunyata equipment, so I was very familiar with the sonics of the space, and I have to say, the difference after adding the new Shunyata products was not at all subtle. Now, describing aural impressions can sometimes be difficult or mean something different to every person. So before I attempt to describe what I and several of my engineers and producers heard, I'll tell you I did some testing before the Shunyata system and after. Shunyata is all about science and repeatable and reliable research. You can talk with them or simply read their research online and you'll find out why their products are so incredible. In a mastering studio, we implement a playback chain and a capture or a record chain. This is our loop where we'll add analog compressors, equalizers, and other processors to the original mix to prepare it for final master. Before adding the Shunyata system, the noise floor for that loop from the DAC through the mastering console to the ADC was a respectable minus 108 dBFS. After adding the Shunyata, the noise floor dropped to minus 118 dBFS, a 10 dB drop in residual noise floor across all frequencies. Some would argue that the noise floor was already below human perception, but as we raise loudness levels, add tube compressors, EQs, or limiting, this residual noise can increase 20 dB or even more, raising that noise floor well into the audible range. Inner crosstalk was reduced by 3 dB. Harmonic distortion was also reduced by a small percentage. So let's get to the real point. What did the engineers and producers with nearly 100 years of combined experience hear in the studio? The instruments and the vocals are more defined in space. The dynamic impact, both subtle microdynamics and large transients, are preserved and delivered. Every subtle tweak we make to a record is easier to hear. There's less noise, which means a clearer and better picture of what the artist intended, a more emotional and lifelike experience. The records I recorded and set in the studio for, those performances translated more like I intended, more like the artist intended. That's not hyperbole or opinion. I was there to witness the entire process. So if you want more precision, more dynamics, less noise, heightened transparency, try Shunyata products for yourself. You'll be much closer to the emotion, the impact, and the original performance than you've ever been before. And that is what we all want.